Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. Thank you to those who are joining in consciousness. And hello to those of you who are listening to the recording. A very warm welcome for our final live stream of this year. The focus of our discussion today will be on how we can begin living and putting into practice the spiritual principles we've studied together as we embark on 2025. But before we do, shall we begin with a very short meditation? I invite you to close your eyes with me now and perhaps just become aware of the light within you, radiating through you as you, that inner silence living itself. And we can just rest in the observing of that. So let's be still. Thank you. Hello, Gloria, and blessings to you too. I mentioned last month that the theme of my YouTube content next year will be much more focused on how we can live from the spiritual perspective Joel's been teaching us, and how we can apply these principles in our daily life. I am blessed to be co-hosting a new online book study group with Glorian from January onwards, studying The Government of Eden, this book. Which is an absolutely superb compilation by Acropolis Books, who are the publishers, of extracts taken from Joel's talks, illustrating how to live and apply these principles in our own life, our family life, our community, our nation, and our whole world. And to complement that book study group, which of course you're very welcome to join, email me if you'd like more details. There's no charge, and you don't need to have the book or know anything about Joel Goldsmith's teachings. To accompany our study, I've created a playlist for the audio recordings of these meetings, and the link for that playlist is in the description here. So to encourage us on this seeming journey of self-awareness, I'd like to read to you now the invitation Joel gave his students, which is at the very start of The Government of Eden. So let me read that to you now. Okay, Joel says, only the very courageous can embark on the spiritual journey, and only those of great strength and vision can hope to continue on this path. Nearly 20 centuries ago, the Master made it clear that the way is straight and narrow, and few there be that enter. That this is true is borne out by the fact that up to the present time, very few have been able to remain on the spiritual path and continue to go forward. It is not easy to surmount superstition, ignorance, and fear, and despite prejudice and previous failures, to set forth in search of new horizons. And he goes on to say, every year will be the result of what we make of it, the result of something that we put into operation this minute. It will not do to wait until midnight tonight. It will not do to wait until tomorrow. The kind of year that we are to experience must be started now, in this moment, by an act of decision, and each one must make that decision for himself. Hello to those of you who've joined, a warm welcome. It's lovely to be here with you. Are there any comments on what I've just read, or would anyone like to say hello? Okay, well, Joel's inviting us not only to realize the fallacy of our conditioned beliefs of separation and duality, he's also encouraging us to fully commit to living the truth we've come to know. Glorian's posted a comment. Thank you, Heather. So beautiful. Looking forward to joining you in this sharing to our group starting in January. Okay, I'm going to read you another extract now. This is slightly further on in the book, and he extends the same invitation this way. So we're following the same theme. He says, this is Joel Goldsmith, spiritual living is yielding to the reign of God, the kingdom of God. It is yielding desires. It is yielding the self to a receptivity of spiritual guidance. It is not an outlining and a determining of what we want or how we are to attain it. It is a yielding, a complete yielding of oneself, so that one may be an instrument through which a divine intelligence can operate. Hello to those of you who've joined, a warm welcome. We're reading extracts from The Government of Eden by Joel Goldsmith. So what Joel is encouraging us to do in that last extract is to relinquish the erroneous belief we've had of an egoic personal sense of self, and just as we did in our initial meditation today, taking a step back and simply observing as the one life, the mind that we are, as that lives itself. Oh, Amen, Gloria. Those of you who are familiar with the Infinite Way teachings of Joel Goldsmith, this is the Infinite Way, an old copy, will know that one of the wisdoms in this book is consciousness lives itself. You do not live it. Very simple and yet very profound, isn't it? If you're watching the recording, please feel free to share any thoughts or comments in the comments section. Or if you prefer to email me privately, you're very welcome to do so. My email address is mysticalmeditation@yahoo.com. Okay, so let's tie this in now for the final time with the wisdom the old man shares with the young man in the spiritual book, The Young Man and the Old Man, which I've been reading you extracts from throughout the latter part of this year. The author of that book, Vic Smith, was heavily inspired by Joel Goldsmith's teachings when he wrote that book, which is a story based on spiritual principles. Now, this live will probably conclude my references to Vic Smith's book, so I would encourage you to study and contemplate it for yourself. The link for both the ebook and the audiobook are in the description. Yeah. Glorian's just reiterating that consciousness lives itself. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Infinite Way, one of the chapters in the book is called Wisdoms, and it's short. Most of them are 1 or 2 sentences, and they're inspired wisdoms from Joel Goldsmith's teachings. Okay, going back to the young man and the old man, I'm going to read you an extract from Vic's books now. And let me just give you some context. The affluent young man has just witnessed a scene that utterly fascinated him. A young boy has stolen some bread in the marketplace, and rather than punish him, the old man offered to pay for what the boy had stolen. Intrigued, the young man followed the old man a short distance with the intention of finding out what had prompted such an unlikely action. So let me just read you a short section from Vic's book now. A few moments later, the old man answered, "You say you have everything you need, young man, yet your eyes show that you are troubled and cannot rest. Your dress shows that you are indeed well-to-do, but your eyes reveal that you are poor as the boy who stole the bread. The old man paused to look at the young man's face, which was curious and puzzled. Yes, the old man continued as he resumed walking, I am the one who should feed you. You old fool, I have the finest foods at my house, and you say you should feed me? The young man was angry now. The old man replied, When I feed you, you shall hunger no more for your food, but you shall hunger for my food. Your own food shall not satisfy you. Only in my food shall you find satisfaction. You feed yourself day after day with more than a sufficient amount of food. It shows in your plump face. If you feed yourself sufficiently with my food, it will show in your eyes. So that was from The Young Man and the Old Man by Vic Smith. And as you can gather slightly from that extract, the old man had refused to judge the scene his senses were presenting to him in the marketplace, and instead he'd followed the discipline, as Joel teaches, of seeing through the appearance of a thieving boy to the truth of his spiritual identity. Now, we're all continuously beguiled by a world of appearances and forms, but Joel encourages us to cease taking thought and instead see with spiritual eyes, the Christ self, as he calls it, by which he means the pure light of consciousness, which is the true essence of everything. Hello to those of you who've joined, a warm welcome. It's really lovely to be here with you. Well, how do we do that? Well, Joel explains beautifully and very clearly, again in The Government of Eden. This is the book that we're contemplating today. In the chapter, When We Judge by Appearances. Let me read you that extract now. And I can't emphasize enough how profound and liberating the wisdom shared in this book is. And yet Joel conveys it in such an easy to read way that can be read over and over again and deeply contemplated. So I'll read you that extract now from this chapter, When We Judge by Appearances. Joel says, Stop condemning, stop criticizing, stop judging. Judge not after appearances. Who made me a judge over you? Stop all of this. Lift this mesmerism from yourself that finds condemnation in you. Oh, I know you have faults, and so have I. We're not proud of them, and we do not want to perpetuate them. But we're going to if we keep on criticizing and judging and condemning others and ourselves. If we are going to call ourselves mortal and material, we will never rise out of that phase of existence. Let us begin our spiritual healing ministry by realizing, first of all, that God is the creative principle of all that is, that God constitutes the substance and essence of this universe. God is the substance of the form of this universe. If you can do that, you will refrain from accepting or judging by appearances, and you will not be tempted to try to heal somebody or something, but you will stay within yourself and judge righteous judgment. Stay within the Garden of Eden, which represents your spiritual domain, a state of divine harmony. We have a comment here. We recognize the light behind the concept. Yes, absolutely. The light being consciousness, our true spiritual identity. Any other final thoughts before we conclude with a meditation? Thank you so much for joining today. It's a real blessing to be here with you. Okay, well, in which case I'd like us to take these words from Living the Infinite Way, another Joel Goldsmith book, into our final meditation. And this is what Joel says. The universe of spirit is an eternal activity of God. Anything that occurs in time and space, as we humanly understand it, should not be accepted at its appearance value. Let us remember that every appearance of humanhood, good or bad, is a mental image in thought, actually without reality, law, substance, cause, or effect. In this recognition, the limitations inherent in the 5 physical senses begin to drop away. We are enabled to see deeper into consciousness and behold that which is eternity in what appears as past, present, and future. Okay, let's take that into our meditation now. And be still. At the end of the meditation, I'll say thank you, and then we'll leave in silence. Okay, let's be still. Thank you. Thank you.